Hi, my name's Matt Locke, and this is the Everyday Athlete Podcast, the podcast for the everyday athletes around the world who refuse to be average and who want to create a legacy of health, fitness, and achievement in every aspect of their life. I'm glad you're here, and once again, it's time to forge your future. Mr. Stuart Walter, welcome back to the Everyday Athletes Podcast.
You are welcome, and we're back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for those who haven't listened to the first episode with yourself, I would certainly encourage you to do so. But Stuart is the founder and owner of Elite Mindset Institute and is a professional clinical hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner who works with elite athletes, ambitious entrepreneurs and individuals to help them recognize their potential of achieving great results. You see, I just did your introduction for you.
That sounds awesome. Where do I sign?
As we talked about last time, you've got a incredible heritage of working with 38 world champions so far across a whole range of different sports. But just so you can introduce yourself, I guess not what I've said, but your version of what it is you actually do to help whoever it is you're working with to get better results.
Yeah, well, basically thanks Matt, and thanks everyone for watching / listening, whatever you're doing. I guess my role is to make people better, okay? Remove the barricades, the blockages that you've created in your own mind. Our minds are incredibly powerful and incredibly stupid. It depends on how you use it. Our mind has got 16 fundamentals of the human mind that always exist. So it's understanding each of these fundamentals as a filter. You say, right, this is this person. See, you find me any person, I can drop them through these 16 fundamentals and go, right, there's the root cause of all the issues you've got now. Right, do you enjoy it? No. Okay, let's change it. And then lift them back up through these same 16 filters to go, right, this is a new version of you. Whereas remembering this is basically the deeper level of program. Who we are on the surface is who we are. All we're doing is responding to the programs underneath. So we change the program, so therefore who you are on surface becomes a totally different person. So I'm not talking about like a typical psychology, which be, well, let's go back and have a look at the past. What made you who you are today? Tell me about your parents, because that's already happened. The way I work and my model of working with people is, right, this is who you are. That's where you want to go to. Who do you need to be to achieve this result?
Yep.
And that's all it is basically changing the person, building the person that excels in business and life and in sport.
Yeah, no, thank you. Now, to, I guess, pre-frame what we're going to talk about today, for the Everyday Athlete Podcast, as the name would suggest, we are absolutely focused in everything we do on the everyday athletes of the world. And what we're trying to do is ultimately create events that empower everyday athletes around the world. That's the ultimate dream, and provide the elite experience for everyday athletes. And we have a fairly broad spectrum. We have some absolute athletic weapons who come and play in our events, and they go hard, and it's awesome to watch. We have some who are just stepping into that realm for the first time and are having a red hot crack and loving it, and that's equally awesome to see. And we have those standing on the sidelines who are thinking, oh, I think I'd like to do it, but I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not fit enough, whatever it may be. All of those sort of internal messages, I suppose. And we've recently had 2 or 3 people write in who are listening to the podcast. Thank you for that. And say, look, especially during the COVID-19 situation, struggling to be motivated isn't perhaps not the right way. What they've basically said is, I find myself defaulting to working on my strengths, so doing what I'm good at, versus using the time to focus on my weaknesses. And the question is from them, why? And could you talk to someone who could give advice for how to address that? And here we are today, having this conversation. Ta-da! Enter Stuart Walter. Hopefully that's enough of a lead-in for you to, I guess, why do we do it? It's the first part.
Yeah.
And then the second part we'll get to will be, all right, what advice, tips, tricks, or techniques would you offer to the listeners or the watchers?
Yeah, quite simply, Matt, what's happening? People are defaulting. There's 2 factors at play here. One is motivation's only possible when you have direction. Okay. which is great because all the, I guess, the elite athletes I've been working with in the lead up to 2020 Olympics, all of a sudden they had a direction, therefore they had motivation. Pools were shut down, sporting events were shut down, the Olympics are shut down, therefore there's no direction for them, so therefore no motivation. So that's one of the fundamentals. If people aren't feeling motivated, you probably find that they haven't got a very clear direction or target in their life. So what I would say to a lot of people who are questioning, don't seem to have this, is stop, have a look at who you're going to be, what you want to achieve in your life, how does it look? See, if you're only kind of feeling half motivated, I'd probably say your goals are only half size.
Right.
If you're motivated some days and not the other days, I would say that same thing, the goals aren't big enough, or there's something in that goal that's scary. So therefore you start holding back, i.e. creating fears and uncertainty, self-sabotage, procrastination. So that's one of the fundamentals of focusing on the end result. Now, the other two, number two factor for why people would default is in times of pressure and stress, you go back to learned behaviors. Okay? Learned as in survival. This is one of our major fundamentals of us. We're here for one reason, that's survival. So we're always on the lookout for things that potentially hurt us or harm us physically and emotionally. So our brain is always going to go back to survival in times of pressure and stress to go, right, how do we do this? So number one, if you don't have a goal or it's been shut off and you can't do anything, you're not going to have any motivation. Pressure and stress, you go back to learned behaviors. If learned behavior is kind of negative, that's what's going to happen. So we're always going to find the positive part of our life and sit in there. Okay, because it gives us comfort, it gives us safety and security in a very uncomfortable, unsecure world. So you can see exactly why our brain's going back to go, well, look, I feel safe and comfortable here. Why would I push myself? Okay, so maybe that helps and helps all your listeners out there and viewers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. That certainly, again, for my logical brain, to break it down that way makes a lot of sense, to understand why it is. Certainly, there was one athlete in particular who reached out, who described himself as a heavier athlete.
Yep.
He used to play a sport at a very high level, almost national level.
Yep.
Different country, and he basically had to get a job and fell into a career and so on, and kind of let himself go, his words, and is struggling with exactly this subject where he says he's motivated, yet based on what you're describing or what you've just said, I wonder whether he's sufficiently motivated, let's say, whether the goal is big enough to truly motivate. But certainly he has concerns around why he doesn't train as he should. He knows he should and he thinks he wants to. I'm being a bit candid because I guess he's going to be listening and people he knows will be listening, so I'm not going to name him. But I do want to help him. Yeah. And he's not alone at the end of the day. He's not alone.
Look, I would say this is typical of athletes. One of the greatest fears that I work with athletes is the fear of success. Okay, so many people think it's fear of failure. Oh, I'm scared about failing. They're not, because you can get probably 80% of the way towards success by getting away from the past. It's this extra 20% is the fear of success kind of pushing back, because what happens with judgment? What happens? What would people think? What would happen if people are thrust in the spotlight? They're not ready for it. They're not strong enough and resilient enough to be able to hold this space. So a lot of people are actually self-sabotaging back to about 80%. Okay. The other factor at play is, just on this case alone, by listening and kind of reading and interpreting, is if someone's been in sport, the higher they go, the more they're going to crash at the end of it.
Sure.
So if someone in sport or business in life has been at the top and then bang, it's crashed, the way the brain works, again, we go back to the fundamentals, which is protecting ourselves from potential hurt, potential harm. We've now got this one experience, not the high is the issue, it's the low from it. So our brain goes, right, let's go back up here. Our brain's going, why would we want to go back up and hurt ourselves again? Because that's what happened last time. So the higher we go, the more we crash. Next time we're going to go up, The brain's going, yeah, let's self-sabotage, let's hold back a little bit. So if anyone's been in a relationship and it was awesome and it ended in tears, you don't go rushing out to go, right, let's do it again. Most people go, let's hold back a little bit just in case. So if it does fail, it won't feel as bad. You're in a negative space, your brain goes back to past experiences. So it's always going to reflect on the previous one. So let's look at it. This one might be a 10 out of 10. It's going to crash to -10. We start going back up to go, well, we'll just sit at 9. So if it crashes, you think -9. It's not that bad. But it's actually worse because you're in this one. It's worse than the memory of this one. But when you're in a negative state, you only look backwards. So you're looking at the -9 plus the -10 becomes a -19. So then we go back up again. Your brain goes, oh, I don't want to hurt myself again. So we're only going to go to 8. Bang, 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 bang. That's when you got
slope. Yeah, fascinating. Fascinating.
So you probably find that this person, they might have been successful in sport and crash, and they go, right, let's get back into business. So you probably find there's a limit to potential that the brain is actually going, but I don't want to hurt myself.
And that makes total sense. And what advice would you give that person? And again, those people, because he's not alone. What would be the advice for how to handle that?
Awareness is the key. Awareness is absolutely the key. If you can feel yourself going up here, go, yeah, I've been successful. That's great. But don't forget, most people are sitting in this conscious level, which is only 3 to 5% of our human mind. I'm a specialist in this 95 to 97%. To go, well, this is logical that your brain doesn't want you to perform because you might get hurt. What if you are successful? What if you go twice as big this time and crash twice as low? We're trying to protect you from this potential hurt. Remembering it's only potential, and as I mentioned in the last video, which spoke about the fear of sharks, okay? You can't have a fear of sharks sitting here, but if there's up to here in water and there's one hanging off your leg, that's not a fear, that's reality. So it's just taking a step, managing it, taking another step, managing it. Okay, there's always going to be fear. That's a signal that your brain is going, what you're about to do is dangerous. It could hurt based on past experiences. So imagine if you could just go back to the past, to the big extension lead that's connected to that negative power, turn it off, unplug it. Imagine you can unplug the power to all these negatives and go, oh, let's go plug it in over here in the future and turn it on. So all of a sudden you've got exactly the same person, but we're now going, oh, this will be good. This is somehow beneficial. So it's a matter of changing the programs that are down at this deeper level. And that's where I specialize. A lot of people can't do it because they're too caught up in this conscious mind, which is where all the emotions are sitting as well.
Sure.
Yep. A classic example is what I call the yeah buts. Okay. You will hear it in everyday conversation. Yeah, I'm going to do it, but. The yeah is the unconscious mind. Yeah, I can do it. The but is past experience and emotions. Yeah, but. Yeah, but. I'm a good person, but. I know I need to lose weight, but. I know I need to be successful. I know I can go harder, but. So you can simply reframe it by taking the word but out of it. Therefore, you know reference to the past. You go, I'm a good person, and I know I need to lose weight, and I know I can be a lot better in my job, my life, my relationships. And so that change of word from but to an and is actually now going to start creating a positive action and momentum. So maybe that can help that person that you know. And a lot of people here, if you hear yourself going, yeah, but, that's exactly what's going on. It's your mind reaching back to past experiences to help and protect you, keep you safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those who are listening, who perhaps haven't experienced hypnotherapy themselves and therefore have listened to what you've just said and go, yeah, but it's a bit tree huggy, a bit herbal, a bit green, it's not really for me. Of the 38 world champions, do you want to pull out 2 or 3 specific examples where, as a result of working with you and what you do, their performance has improved by X? So it's quantifiable, it's measurable, and undeniable on that basis.
Yeah, probably one of the good ones I mentioned in the last one, which is the 400-meter hurdler.
That's okay. Mention them again. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just look at it. 400-meter hurdle. So imagine the 400-meter hurdle track.
Yep.
Number one, under 17-year-old national champion. Now remember, he's already Australia's number 1 for the 400 meters. He was throwing up 2 days before an event because he was that nervous. He wasn't sleeping. He was tightening up. Everything was just out the door. So his coach actually connected with me and said, hey, look, can you help? Because this is the situation. So again, he's caught up in this. This is who I am in the emotional triggers. This is what I do. I run. Last time I ran, I felt this way. Last time before an event, I was throwing up 2 days before. So here he is now 2 days before. He's going, oh, what happened last time? Great, that's right. Throwing up. Oh, right. That's the program. Let me do it again for you. You're welcome. So I started working with this young kid who was running 56.5. Okay. This is all documented, verified end results because it's on timing sheets around the country and around the world.
Yep.
56.5. A month later, we had him running 52.6. So
nothing else changed.
Nothing else changed. Conditions, slightly. Wind direction, slightly. But 3.9 seconds as a reduction in time over a 56-second race.
Huge.
And that was purely, as we said, as I alluded to before, this is the end result. This is what I want to achieve. Okay. And then removing the nerves and the doubts and the fears. So now we've got excess baggage disappeared. This is where I'm focused on, truly believing and trusting. I've got this skill. I've got it. I'm number one in the country. Now I'm free. I'm lighter. I'm not carrying this huge emotional weight. Gone. So focus on the target, the end result, managing nerves, doubts, and fears. That was the 3.9 second reduction. I mean, the fourth session I did with him was actually at the state title track where he got that 52.6. I actually had him sitting there against a car tire, got him into a nice relaxed state, brought his coach in there. The coach was actually the one that says, right, let me drop all the technical information into you while I had him in that state, brought him back out, bang, done. So how this looked on track, Matt, was just incredible. So you can imagine 400-meter hurdles track, the big egg, you've got the finish line. Yep. Okay. He was already crossing the finish line. The rest of the pack are about 5 meters behind. With his new reduction in time, 3.9 seconds, based on his average running speed, he would actually had a gain of 27.6 meters. So what happened is he's crossing the line now. You reckon the 27 meters plus the 5 would be 32 meters. Okay. It wasn't. That state title, he actually won by 45 meters. That's half the length of the main straight.
Yeah.
You look at that and think, how is that possible? It's because you look at it, go, he's disappearing down the runway. All his opposition are looking at him and go, hang on, not what is he doing, but what are we not doing?
Yeah.
They tightened up and they had a net loss of 13 meters by his results. So think about this within sport, within life. If you're focused on your opposition, you'll tighten up and you'll end up going backwards. If you're just relaxed and focused on what you do and trust yourself, you'll be the one hitting records and everyone else is going to be going backwards because they're too focused on you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of the situation. So you look at that, that's one clearly measurable outcome. Let's look at other people. Who else we got? Melissa Hashelt, 3-time world 70.3 Iron woman. Yep. I worked with her back in her steeplechase days and cross country days.
Yep.
In the Australian track and field team. I worked with her and she had she had a few issues in regards to traveling, coaches within the Australian side. There's conflict of emotions and the way people treated each other. So basically with her, we go, look, every time you're going to be traveling, you're going to be in this environment. You're not going to excel in this environment if you want to be the one you want to be. So let's just remove yourself out of it. So she did and changed sport. And she won her first 3 Ironman.
Oh, she dominated.
And she's still regarded as one of the strongest mindsets in, I guess, triathlon or even world.
I didn't know that backstory for her. I knew she was a steeplechaser, but I didn't know that backstory because I watched her debut, and she was phenomenal. I mean, she was next level.
Oh yeah, you wait till she comes back. This is going to be absolutely mind blowing. Okay, now she's had her daughter. You wait for that. Okay, I see what she's doing. I did a podcast with her only a few weeks ago.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so she's an incredible lady because what we did with her, there was, she'll be fine mentioning this, but she's got her potential, which is 100%, and you've got the 0%. I've actually documented this as well through Brant Best, who was the coach for James Magnuson, the fastest swimmer in history back at that time.
Yep.
Brant Best was his swim coach. He's a client of mine now, a good friend. And I've run this measurement through with him as a physical coach versus me being mindset. Now, most people start feeling resistance to potential at 40%. Think about that, 40%. So you can double what you thought was tough and you're still not near your potential. Okay, think about that. So with, say, Mel, for example, she wasn't able to push through that 80% barrier. All three disciplines, cover everything up and go hard. She goes, everything was sitting around the 80. So what happened is, it's not the 80 that was the issue. Okay, the fact that she couldn't achieve the 100, because every time she'd do that, she'd get hurt, break, physically, emotionally. So the body kept her held back. The mind kept her held back to 80%, so she didn't have to push any further. When you look at the results, even at 80%, she's got 3, 4, how many world champions? Okay.
Yeah.
The gain is not by pushing harder. The gain was actually by slowing down. This is where we got the results. Because most people will push and get to breaking point.
Yep.
Then they'll step back and go, oh, I'll go back to 40%. At least I'm doing something. So if you're now trained within this 40 to 80% range, guess what happens? There's your muscle memory. You are now training between 40 and 80%. It's not optimal. Again, we come back to the basics of the human mind. Apply pressure and stress, you go back to learned behaviors. Now, all of a sudden, when you go to a competition, you could be anywhere between 40 or 80%. There's inconsistency. So how do we increase? Simple. When your brain says slow down, don't slow down, stop. Totally stop. Put your feet up, watch a movie, have a beer, refocus on what's important. Then when you get that motivation to go again, so trusting your mind and trusting your body, then bang, straight up to 85%. All three disciplines.
Yep.
What happens next? Great. If you start feeling that resistance at 85%, stop. Okay. Don't go thinking, oh, everyone else is doing something. Yeah, they are. They're breaking themselves. Let them do it. Okay. Come back, stop, refocus, bang, 90%. Do it again, 95%. Come back, do it again, bang, 100%. So what we've actually done is now you've trained your body to only perform at 100%. So when you train, it's 100%. When you compete, it's 100%. So now next time you go to an event, you know you're going to be at 100%. There's belief. Your opposition know you're going to be at 100%. There's pressure for them. Okay? That's how you win.
Yeah, fascinating. So it's another example where less is more sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You'd be the same. If you had one of those days in business where you just can't break through everything seems to be on this downward spiral, like I do, I know where my rate is. I'm not producing anything at 50%. So I'll shut off, go and spend the day. I'll put my feet up, go for a drive, have a coffee, watch a movie, have a beer, have a pack of chips, refocus. So then when I pick up again, bang, straight back to 100%. But if you're at this 50% and you keep pulling it down, you've got a huge recovery again.
Yeah.
I just shut things off and go, right, change state, block state, go back out. So when people see me, they only see me at 100%.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yes.
Absolutely. That was fascinating. That was very helpful. Thank you. And I kind of put you on the spot with some of that, so my apologies, but I appreciate.
That's all right. Not a problem.
You know your craft, so I didn't describe it. I didn't describe it. It wasn't the first time you've heard that described, I'm guessing. But, no, but I appreciate it. So conscious of time, Stuart. So if people want to reach out and get in contact with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, through any of my websites, I've got the Elite Mindset Institute.com or the Athlete's Secret Weapon. If you're looking for more of the sports related, go to athletesecretweapon.com website.
Yep.
If you're looking for the everyday type of thing, business and life issues, the Elite Mindset is probably more the pathway for you.
Sure.
We'll probably get those links, I would think, in your notes.
Yeah, I'll put them in the show notes for sure. You mentioned you have a podcast as well, so feel free to give that a shout out.
Yeah, Athlete's Secret Weapon podcast. It's it's on basically about 6 different platforms. Spotify.
On everywhere.
So it's more about interviewing some of the best athletes in the world. I've got bull riders, rowers, motor racing, Porsche Carrera Cup guys.
Triathletes. I've
got Brant Best, the swim coach. I think there's only about 10 episodes there now. The next one is coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, Melissa's there. We've got a 5-time world karate champion. She's coming up next.
Oh, fantastic. Very good.
So that's a podcast, Athlete's Secret Weapon. But yeah, if anyone's interested, I'm not sure if I mentioned the Dear Diary Process ebook. If people are interested in that, which is one of the greatest self-empowerment tools that I've created, a published book. If anyone's interested in the ebook version of it, okay.
Fantastic.
We'll put that in the notes as well. That's a downloadable book. They can
Yeah,
actually.
that's very kind. You made the offer last time and continue to do so. Where it's a free downloadable ebook,
Yep.
which is absolutely self-explanatory. I've read it and used it. I have to say it's excellent. And we'll put the link in the show notes so that everyone can access it. And we're going to whack it out in one of the weekly emails as well, so that
Fantastic. Yeah.
it's available to everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think I've mentioned specials as well for my online program. I've got an 8-week Athlete Secret Weapon online program, hypnosis, workbooks, self-development, self-empowerment tools and resources spread out over an 8-week period. If anyone's interested in that, I think I mentioned last time a 40% discount off.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Again,
just there's a special promo code. We'll put that in the notes for you.
Yeah,
that's 40% off the $495 US. So it'll be come down to about $247 for that. I'm sorry, about $297. Yeah, about $297.
that's awesome. Thank you very much.
So if anyone's interested, and even in face-to-face, or not face-to-face these days, but Skype.
That's right.
Yeah, just feel free to just connect on email. And we'll work out a way to have a chat and connect.
That's amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time again and your expertise. I'm sure it's not the last time we're going to have you on the podcast. Because I know that this is mindset and performance are big topics for everyone, certainly in our sport, as they are all sports. So thank you again. And yeah, you continue to take care and stay safe during COVID-19.
Will do. Stay safe, stay distant.
Absolutely. Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Thanks very much for listening. And if you've enjoyed this, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a new episode. And if you think that one of your training buddies would also enjoy this, go ahead and share it with them right now. With that said, thank you once again. And as always, be brave, have fun, and lead by example.